Welcome back to Show Me What I've Been Missing, your pop culture podcast that says, hey, look at that thing. I'm one of your hosts, Elizabeth Stanton, and with me is my other host.
Woo! Chris Mack. What's up, everybody?
And we are working our way through Sex and the City from start to finish. I've seen it a bunch of times. Chris hasn't seen it really much at all, if ever. A few pieces here and there, but not much. And we are almost halfway through season 6, I think. Just about.
Yeah, we are. This is the halfway point. I think.
Yeah,
no, not 13. I think it's at 13 episodes.
Yeah, or 12. I think there's 12 and then 8 or something like that. Yeah. But we're pretty far along. We're in the home stretch.
You're definitely over half.
Yeah, we're definitely over half. And this episode is called The Domino Effect.
Yes. By the way, I'm drinking a mixture of Gatorade and like this coconut drink that I have, and it tastes just like something you could get from Sonic. It's bringing
Never
back
been to Sonic. There's no Sonics.
Sonic?
No, there were no Sonics in my area as a kid, and now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's definitely. I mean, there's some here in California, but you got to drive pretty far. I think there's like one in OC. There's one in oh shit, what's the name of that fucking? I can't even think of it. It starts with an A, but I can't think of it.
Anaheim?
No, it's
Agora.
Yes.
Look at me knowing my California cities.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's what it is.
No, I had a friend actually years ago. She was taking an advertising class in college, and somebody asked, because we'd see Sonic ads all the time, right, in Michigan, but we're like, there's no Sonics anywhere around. How does this work? Why are they advertised Sonic? There's no Sonic. Yeah. And then my friend taking the advertising class learned like it's cheaper, obviously, to buy it bulk. So they bought advertising space basically in bulk. And so it didn't matter if there was a Sonic in the area or not. And then finally, years and years, I'm talking like I'm in my like 20s by this point, late 20s, near my grandma's house on the west side of Michigan. Mm-hmm. There was a Sonic that opened. And I think my brother and I were like, oh my God, finally, like, let's try it. Like, we've heard so much. It was like closed or something. Yeah. So we're like, fuck this fucking chain.
Oh man, no, that's definitely it. I mean, listen, you're missing out, but you're also not missing out. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you're only missing out in the sense that you can't share stories with other people who have had Sonic, but you're not missing out as far as like
actually eating Sonic.
Yeah. I mean, they were mostly known for their chili dogs. Then they branched out into like burgers. It was like because like the place was like it's like a little drive up. It's not even a drive through. It's like they call it a drive. It's a drive-in technically. Sonic is a drive-in.
Right.
Yeah, you drive in with the car, hit at the menu, do the damn thing, and then they bring it out to you, and you can leave or you can eat there because it was like allowed to eat in your spot.
I was always intrigued because they did offer tater tots, like in addition to
tater tots fire
French fries.
That's like the two things you're missing out on. It's like the chili dogs and the tater tots, because the tater tots be hidden every single time.
Any restaurant that's like, crispy. You want French fries or tater tots? I'm like, what do you fucking think?
Do I want more potato or less potato? More potato.
Why do you even offer fries? Who out here is like, no, I don't want tater. Everyone wants fucking tater tots.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, just like with fries, tater tots can be very hit or miss, right? Because you can overcook them or undercook them. Mm-hmm. If they're like mad soft, you're like, man, like if they don't got that good crunch on the outside,
don't make me get up at the crack of dawn tomorrow and get McDonald's breakfast like has or shitty hash browns.
Listen, let me tell you something. If McDonald's made tater tots like they make their goddamn hash browns, I mean,
I'd be dead.
They would make more money than Disney, okay? They would be more wealthy than Disney just off tater tots, okay? Their tater tots would be like a Disney park. They would just be making billions of dollars off just the tater tots, okay?
Well, dying of cholesterol is a perfect segue into this episode.
Yes, but before we get started, make sure if you're watching this, go ahead and like and subscribe because you've been here for longer than 5 minutes. So go ahead and just hit that little button, hit those two little buttons because you're already here. Enjoy the rest.
And tell us, did you grow up with Sonic or not? We're very curious.
And if you did, tell us your best Sonic story or like what's your favorite thing at Sonic?
Yeah.
So let's get it.
Let's do it. So yes, this is an episode with some medical mystery. Actually, is everybody? Yeah, all of them have like medical stuff. I just realized all put together.
Yeah.
in some form or other.
Former passion, yeah, no, it's true, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So whomst would you like to start with? Maybe Charlotte?
Oh, no. I wanna start with Samantha because I feel
Okay.
like we get there because he didn't have a story last time. So you know
Yes,
what? Let's start out with our girl because she got a storyline
our
in this
girl.
episode. Yeah.
Yes. So Smith is finally back from his film shoot in Mexico. It's so weird. They said it was like 2 weeks, but then Miranda said she's been dating Robert for like a month.
A
I don't
month.
know. The
Yeah.
timing is all
Well, here's the thing. This is okay
loosey
now.
goosey.
Granted, he might have okay. Like, but the thing about it is because you know this, especially with film
Shoots go
production
long.
like that. Shoots go a little long, or maybe they like beat like maybe he maybe he was expected to do 2 weeks, and then Gus Van Sant liked him so much and added extra scenes to
Yeah.
beef up his character and stuff like that. So that would be my guess
All
if
sorts
turning
of
2 weeks turned into
explanations.
6. Yeah, because he's like the new hit guy
Yeah.
right now in town. So they probably, maybe, the production got word that, hey, like we need to beef up his character so you can get more eyes on this movie, and they did.
He's the absolute hunk.
You know.
So he's back and they're having sex. And she has like some kind of like Kama Sutra type book or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's like really directing him while he's like fingering her, like
Right.
full on like slightly to the left, now higher, now turn clockwise, and on and on.
Very interesting. It's like, dude, like, what the fuck? Also, my question is because she does say later that like she didn't hook up with anybody else. So I'm like, how are you practicing this on yourself? Because it seems like a thing that has to be done the way she's directing him. It seems like a thing that has to be done from like another person's hands. Because like how you got all the like how you holding the book and also you know what
Samantha
I mean?
is a very has a lot of
Talented?
ingenuity, talent, and I believe she could figure it out.
She is very resourceful. That's true.
Exactly, resourceful. She knows what she's doing.
That's fair.
So
Yeah.
later on, after they do all that, they're walking down the street and Smith tries to hold her hand and she kind of keeps pulling it away, and then she avoids it so much she literally falls into one of those like stairwells. They have like the metal things that open up.
Yeah, the little cellar basement kind of.
Yeah, like where they take food deliveries for all that kind of stuff. But she falls down a whole ass stairwell.
I think you only see those in the East Coast too. I think
I think they're only in East Coast.
Else. Yeah.
East Coast thing, just as far because it's a space thing, basically.
Yeah. Question. Now let me ask you this: has anybody ever tried to hold your hand and you were like trying to, I guess for lack of better words, like low key avoid it?
I feel like I have, but not like quite so dramatically.
Okay, tell me about it.
I'm trying to think.
First of all, don't play innocent. Every girl knows that there's been a guy that they ain't really feeling.
I think it was like a date, like like an OK Cupid date where I was like, nah.
Oh, you don't remember? Oh, I think it was. Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
I know girls don't always go for the handhold.
Oh yeah, I've definitely avoided it in my lifetime for sure. Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. Because like it's like one of those things where it's like Now here's the thing. My reasoning behind it. I guess I was gonna say it wasn't the same as Samantha's, but it kind of was because it was like trying to set that boundary. It's like, look, we cool, but we ain't like together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I like you. What we do together is fun, but like this ain't forever.
Yeah. I have let's just say recently very much not offered my hand, but been like, it's here. Like,
if you would like it,
it's just here laying on the armrest.
That's true.
You want to go ahead and snatch her up? It's right there. Did not take the bait. Oh well. Onward and upward. So Carrie is Samantha ends up telling Carrie about it, and she's like appalled. She's like, I did not know that Smith was she's like, Smith did something so depraved, so disgusting. I'm horrified by it. And she's like, he tried to hold my hand. And Carrie's like, Smith is a hand holder?
Yeah, she's like, how dare he? Disgusting.
Disgusting.
To be fair, I'm on Gary's side. He's like, dude, that's the least, because that's it's kind of the weird thing about us as people, right? It's like we can like for instance, Samantha, like he literally had his hands inside of her, but the idea of holding his hand was like, how fucking dare you?
Yeah,
You know,
too intimate.
Way too. You can be in my body, but you can't be holding my hand. How dare you?
He's giving her a full-on cervical exam earlier,
Right.
and she's
Right.
like, "Don't you touch my hand."
That is I mean, it's so funny. No, because that's and it's not just like a her type thing. That's just like how we are as people. It's like it's so weird how we choose what's actually intimate and what's not. You know what I mean? It's so weird.
And Samantha's also like, and I didn't have any sex with anybody or give any like hand jobs or blowjobs and nothing. Didn't do anything the entire time Smith was out of town. And Carrie's like, I think you actually missed him, and it sounds like he maybe missed you too.
See, it's just like this, like nothing. She's like basically trying to point out to somebody. It's like nothing crazy happened. You understand, right? Like,
Yeah, you understand this
you
is
have
all
a broken ankle right now. Is
good.
retarded. Like it's crazy. Why would you have an ankle because you or a broken ankle because he tried to hold your hand? It's not like he, you know, I don't know. Was like, hey, give me a blowjob on the street right here.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I feel like she would do. She
She'd
would
do
probably do
that
that
over the hand
before.
holding.
She really would. She'll be like, "Oh my God, Smith, you're crazy. You're bad." Okay.
Oh, Smith here in public? Well, if you insist.
That's good. That's pretty good.
Thank you.
That's
Even
pretty good.
trying.
Oh shit. Hilarious.
So they're walking down the street again. Of course, she's limping along because she has like a foot cast, her toes broken,
Yeah.
and he goes to take her hand again, and she pulls it back, and she's like, "I'm just not that kind of girl." Just like so funny.
Oh man, it's again. What's up, Kitty? How are you? All right, see you later. Sorry, my neighbor's cat was looking at me from the window.
Oh my god! Why didn't you turn the
A fellow
camera
black
around?
cat, a fellow black cat, as he was.
Yay! Oh, they're good luck. I love cats.
Yeah. But yeah, like, that's hilarious. She just like, no, I'm not that kind of girl. You're not gonna treat me this way.
Yeah, but Smith is like, "Are you serious? I like you and you like me. Enough with this horse shit. Just hold my fucking hand."
Yeah.
Which good on him,
Yeah,
being
I mean, and that's the
cut the
thing too.
shit.
For somebody like her, you kind of have to pull her through this kind of a relationship, kicking and screaming, because like she wants to be there, but she's
Yeah.
not. She doesn't know how to be there comfortably. So you just
Mm-hmm.
gotta kind of like pull her into it, and she'll just settle in because she understands that like you want it too. So you have to just like make sure that she knows for sure like this is a safe space. That's really all
Yeah.
it is. So
And
cute.
so she agrees, but she's like, "But only till my foot heals." But
Now let me ask you this, because maybe
I don't know.
maybe they mentioned it and maybe I just forgot. Is there something that happened as far as like romantic wise with Samantha that like kind of has her on such a high guard, or she just kind of always been that way,
She's
right?
just always been that way. I think
Okay.
she's, I think there have been hints that like her being like sexual even when she was younger. Well, no, there because I'm going back actually to that Kat Dennings episode where like that with the bat mitzvah that she was throwing for her character, and like all those like 13-year-old girls are talking about like giving blowjobs and all this like stuff that they're way too young for. And Samantha's like, I had a pretty good childhood and all things considered. Then, if I didn't, since I didn't think about that stuff at 13.
Right.
But I think yeah, there's no like deeper, darker reasoning behind it. It's just
No,
she's
no, no.
always
I don't think
been,
darker. Just like maybe she just like
yeah.
had a bad breakup or something like that, or I don't know.
No, she's just always been very like self-possessed and independent. And if anything, like I think we've talked about before, maybe the Richard thing has made her extra guarded because she
Sure.
did
Yeah.
open up, totally give her heart to him on that front and got it, crushed,
Yeah.
because he refused to be monogamous and cheated on her and everything. So I think it's a more recent burn than like a way past trauma kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So who's next?
Oh man. Um. Let's go with Miranda.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Miranda gets home from work and sees Blair Underwood cooking dinner for her. Yes, please.
I'll take 2 of those, please. Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
I'll take one of this.
it.
Yeah, I wrote down you need to husband him up now.
Well, you know what I mean. Honestly, through their interactions through this episode, I feel like it could go that way, but I also know that there are also things that would be obstacles for that
Oh
future.
yes. Oh yes. So
And yeah,
Magda let him in, and he's cooking enchiladas. He even set the table. Like, and they're always joking like Miranda like never cooks, ha ha ha. And I'm like, yeah, that's you gotta learn to cook. Not for like
well,
a
yeah,
domestic thing, but like,
yeah. But
but
I
also
mean,
she's such a busy lawyer. I get it.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like she probably, I mean, she's only probably home evenings at late, just enough time to tuck Brady in and stuff like that. And even if she takes, if she goes home early, she probably trying to
Yeah,
cook.
yeah.
I get
I
it.
think cooking I'd sacrifice cooking in that scenario for sure.
Yeah,
Especially in New York when you can get so much so quickly,
man. You can
all hours.
you can literally get food 24/7. 24/7
Yeah.
in New York. It's kind of amazing that way.
I was shocked when I moved to LA and I was out somewhere and it was like super late at night. It was kind of one of my first like late nights out here, and like everything was closing at like midnight or 1, and like,
Yeah.
even drive-throughs. I was like, I thought this was like a major city. Why the hell is everybody going to bed? But I was like, all right, everybody gets up and like works out in the morning.
There's a few restaurants in LA I know. Like there's a few like pizza spots and stuff like
Sure.
that that can
Yeah.
live until 2 a.m. and stuff like that. But it ain't worth the price because you'll be paying like $40 for one pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, you may have the munchies, but it ain't worth $40 pizza. I can tell you that because the pizza
Yeah.
ain't even that good. It just is there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So he is like, hey, why don't you, take the day off tomorrow? I don't work till 7. And, Steve's gonna have the baby, and she's like never taken a personal day in her like entire career.
I was worried about that for a second because the way when he said it, the way she looked at him, like, "Who the fuck do you think you are?" You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It was like kind of
yeah.
like that look, and I was like, "Oh shit, did he just get himself broken up with in that moment?" You know what I
I
mean?
know.
I was like, "Damn, he just put the coffin on himself. He closed the door right there."
Yeah. But the idea works. So she actually does it, and the next morning they're having sex in bed, and Steve drops by to like
Doing the
pick up
business.
ear medicine or something for Brady, and
Yeah,
he walks in on them like literally mid thrust.
right. Now that's kind of on him though, because
It
look,
is.
no matter what, even if you think that Miranda's at work, you should have at least called her phone or something like that, or left a message somewhere because Magda could have been there or something like that. Like you got to call.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying that call the home, but at least call her cell phone and leave a message and be like,
Hmm.
"Hey, I know you're at work, but I just want you to know I'm stopping by to get blah blah blah."
Yeah.
So and then move on. It's just a polite thing to do. Like y'all
Because
are not together. Yeah, that's
yeah.
your co-parenting, but y'all ain't a couple, so you can't just walk into somebody's house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He or
Yeah.
not.
He's got the keys though.
Yeah.
So he walks in on the like mid thrust, and he like tries to leave, but he runs face first into the door frame and gives himself like a really bad bloody nose. Like he fucks himself up.
I mean, to be honest with you, that's probably like a white man's scariest dream is to come in and
It's a
see
giant
the
black
next
dude
girl just getting
fucking a
plowed by a
girl.
black dude. Also
Yeah.
enjoying it very much. Not like
Yeah. They're clearly having a good time.
like I know Steve ain't that way, but like it still probably hurt him a little bit. You know what
There's only so much you could break yourself from societally. It's probably way in the back there, and he
Right,
didn't
because like
even
here's
know.
the thing too, like of all the things that you think you're gonna see when you walk into an apartment, that probably had to be very low on the list. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. So they're managing to get some introductions out of the way, and Miranda's like, "He's my boyfriend," and she's like, "Oh, sorry, is that weird?" He's like, "No, I like it." And Steve's like, "Can somebody help me with my bloody nose?" Because she's like, "He's a doctor for the Knicks,"
Yeah, she
and
does that a lot in this episode.
that comes up a lot.
A lot.
And they find out, he finds out they've been together for about a month, and they get like Steve an ice pack, and then Robert does the tampon trick where you like kind of tampon in half, put it in your nose for a bloody nose, which I have done. I get bad bloody noses. My nut, like I just get dry nose and
Oh yeah, I feel you.
then sinuses, and so I've had a one or two where I was like, I'm gonna put a tampon up there. I can't do that.
There's been definitely times where, especially as a kid, I used to wake up with blood all over my pillow from like just rubbing my nose all night from the dryness. So I know exactly what you mean. Like my parents used to be like, "Why are you going through so many pillowcases?" It's like I'm 7.
one time at a karaoke birthday party, I got a bloody nose at this like karaoke bar place. And then not long after I like had taken care of one side, the other side started going. And I was laughing about it, but I absolutely looked like I was coked out of my mind because I was laughing about having a bloody nose.
Yeah,
and it was like bad. It was like the movies bad where they're like, oh my God, she's had too much cocaine. Like,
it's a weird response that your body does this, because it's so dry, your body's just like, all right, let's get some liquid in there. Just get anything in there. We gotta moisten these passages.
All the moisture I can give you is your own blood.
Which is not very good on moisture. It's just
it's just disgusting. And so Miranda relates the whole story to the girls at brunch, and they're all like, oh, poor Steve. And this is rough. This is so rough.
That's what I'm saying. Like, ego. Walking in on anybody's like banging your ex out. Yeah. Banging not only your ex, but your baby mama. You know what I mean? It's like, all right.
Yeah. Right. And he's got like a great job and everything, and but Samantha's like, well, you won, the breakup basically, since she's got Robert. And Miranda's like, is it wrong that I get a little, like, I'm a little okay?
Look though, but here's the thing though, no matter what happens between, like, even if you have a very cordial breakup and it's like a mutual thing, there's still a little bit in us, I think all of us, that's like, all right, listen, I want you to move on and be happy, but also like, I want to do better than you, just a little bit.
Absolutely,
just a little bit. And if you get to do it, like, you get a little bit of pleasure from it. The good people feel guilty after that pleasure, but we all get a little bit of, we all get a little bit of pleasure from it.
I've been there. The previous work crush person, the situationship, I hadn't seen him in like a long time, and I saw him at like a local bar, a brewery thing, and we were chit-chatting, and I was like, well, rattle off what I did, at the time things were going well. And it was not 2022, the year I've had. But I was like, well, what about you? And he was like, yeah, working the same job and have the same apartment, like, that I've been in for like 10 years. And I was like, well, that's still, steady's good. And then I left. I was like, fuck yeah, I win. Like, I might be single or whatever, but like, my shit's moving forward. I win. And then I was like, but I was like, but also, yes, it's good that I'm winning. But
I mean, honestly, I know what you mean, because like I got to flex on the ex this year, and it was pretty nice. It was pretty, because like, when she knew me, I didn't have a car, I had roommates, like I wasn't making really any kind of money. And the next time she saw me, I'm like, I'm making like, $10,000 more a year than I used to.
Exactly.
I live on my own. I was like, oh, that's crazy that you like let me go when you did, because like you didn't even know what I was gonna be doing.
Yeah, I had like a lower position at like the job we worked and stuff like that, and like it kind of moved up to mid-level. But like now, I like at the place I was at the time, different company and stuff like that. But I was like higher, company, like really happy with the job stuff. I'm like good friends and like new apartment. I had relatively recently moved, I think. And I was like, I'm doing great.
Damn, man,
suck my dick. I'm doing great.
Like, it's crazy, like, because that's another thing too. Because at least in my mind, I know a part of this person was feeling like, damn, he left me, and then all of a sudden started doing better. Was it me?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, was I the one that was holding back from the potential? Was it my fault? Was I keeping him down? I was like, yeah, maybe you were.
Yeah, because I wondered like sort of like, oh, if I had like tried to like, I mean, I don't think he was, I think it was like it was sort of, he's just not that into you, but like not quite,
Right.
because he was definitely messing with me.
Yeah.
But I was like, ooh, would I have made some of the choices or took some of the chances I took if I
Mm.
had had him as a boyfriend? Like,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he does have a steady thing, so would I have been like, oh, I don't need to try for this because
I got it.
his stuff is steady or whatever?
Yeah.
Or would I take bigger risks? But all is well that ends well,
Right.
doing
Yeah,
all right still.
that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
But Carrie's like, well, you can't help, some people just get under your skin, but we'll get into Carrie's further discussion in a moment.
Yeah.
Because later at the park, we finally see Debbie in all her glory. Debbie's
Yeah.
hot.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, she is. I mean, okay. Let me ask you this, because I don't know if you get what I'm about to ask, but I think it makes sense. Do you think her hotness level is on par with Blair Underwood's hotness level?
I feel like it's different
I
categories.
know it's different, but what I mean is, it's like, because like, you know, Samantha was telling Miranda that she's
Mm-hmm.
ready to break up because of like all the attributes that his job and everything like
Yeah,
that. But
yeah.
just like on a physical thing, like, do you think they both kind of like did about even as far as like hotness level?
Maybe.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Maybe. I don't want to undersell how hot Blair Underwood is, though.
Let us know in the comments, people. Did
Yeah.
they equally hot each other out, or is one hotter than the other?
What about you? Where do you fall?
Okay, here's what I okay, this is how I feel. As far as for Steve, like who
Hmm.
he is, and like what he brings, I think he definitely uh like won as far as like getting a really, really hot girl. But as a black man,
Hmm.
who also as a black man feels that most black men are probably the most handsome man in the world, I think still Miranda won, because
Yeah.
like that's like, you know what I mean? Like that's because he looks. I mean, if you were to put Steve and him next to each other, I mean,
Sorry,
it would
Steve.
be. I mean, when I say 9 out of 10 women, I think it would be like 9.5 out of 10 women. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like it wouldn't even be a choice. People would just be like, well, I mean, what are you doing to me? I have to pick him. You know,
Yeah. Look at him.
look at him. Like, who wouldn't do
Look
that
at
to
this
me?
man.
So I think she won out in that caliber. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
I think if you were comparing, I mean, this is not like, I'm not trying to like, whatever, but like I think if you were to take, Debbie and then line up 10 men, I think like maybe like an 8 out of 10 men, or maybe like a 7 out of 10 men would be into
Yeah. They'd find something, be like, oh, her boobs aren't big enough, or like,
right, yeah, right, right,
they'd find some fault.
yeah,
Which I'm like hard pressed to do on Blair Underwood. I see
right.
no flaw.
Honestly, I would just be, yeah, I think it would just be like the women that probably wouldn't choose him would just be women who just like aren't attracted to black men, like just
Yeah,
nothing about it. You know what I mean?
dummy.
Yeah. Dummy.
Yeah. Sorry. I like my brother said this one time. I thought it was so funny, but it's so true. He's like, I don't get racist people for a variety of reasons, but one of them is you're eliminating whole categories of hot people from around the
Right.
world. Why
Yeah.
limit yourself? Have
Yeah.
you looked around the world at how hot people are in all different countries and continents?
Crazy. It's
Like
crazy.
he's like, we're not that hot as a people. Like, are there hot white people? Yeah, but like, there's more hot people of different races, ethnicities, whatever you want to like.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Well, listen, we all got our qualities, I think.
We all have our things,
Yeah, I
but
was saying, like, for me personally, I just think like as far as like men go, I think like black men are like probably the most handsome. That's just me though, and maybe that because
yeah,
being a black man, I'm more biased and shit like that. But like, if people always ask me, it's like if I were gay, like what kind of men I would go for, I was like, I'd probably date black men if I was gay. You know,
yeah, yeah.
if I were gay, I'm not people. I'm not saying not that there's anything
Nothing's
wrong with
going
that.
wrong with it, to
Not that
quote
there's anything wrong with
Seinfeld.
that. Put it out there before y'all come for us. I'm just saying I'm not it. That's all.
But Debbie is hot enough that Miranda like literally trips over herself to like say hi. And this is, I think, her first official meeting with Debbie, right? Like, yeah,
Yes,
this
right.
is her
Other
first
than
official.
the ankle meeting that she
Other
had
than the
came over. The ankle
but
meeting.
but
Saw her
luck,
ankles before she saw her face.
yeah, but luckily Miranda doesn't have to be too embarrassed about the fall for too long because Blair Underwood shows up and Miranda's like, he's a doctor for the Knicks. And Debbie's super impressed. Who wouldn't be? I think Debbie's got the
The
hots
poor
for
thing, she didn't
him.
even know that she was like low key kind of stabbing Steve.
Yeah.
So she's like, "Oh my god, that's so cool for the Knicks. He loves the Knicks. He won't even let me do anything around him when he's watching the game. Like he's obsessed with the Knicks." And he's just like, "Bitch, shut up."
He's like, and oh well, the kicker absolutely is. He brought me to a game one time and we had seats really high up and what do you call it? The what? And Miranda's like nosebleed section.
Yeah.
Miranda,
That's what
uncalled for.
Debbie, poor little innocent Debbie doesn't even know that she's just like just shaking his soul right now. He's
Yeah.
just, stop it.
And Steve's trying. He's like, Debbie works for MasterCard at like their corporate headquarters. Yeah, we'll do whatever, probably like accounts or something, account management, something like that. I have no idea. They never really specify.
If you work at headquarters though, you still doing all right.
Oh yeah,
you still doing all right. You know what I'm saying? Like even if you're on the lowest level, like you still making more than like employees and other,
Even if she was like an assistant or something, yeah, she's still making more than most folks.
Yeah.
And Robert is Blair Underwood's like, oh, I get courtside seats. I could give you some if you want. And Steve's like, no, I'm good. I'm happy with my seats. And Miranda's like, take the seats. And Steve's like, I'm good with my seats, Miranda. And she's like,
she was hitting her with a few shakes too. She's like, no, take the seats.
Poor Steve just getting double shanked by these two. One unintentional, like you said, Debbie is not trying to.
Right.
But Miranda absolutely is like, let me go ahead and just twist.
Oh yeah, her shake is made out of a fucking toothbrush. She got the big strength. She's like, yeah, take all that. Go to the infirmary, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. So the next morning, Steve drops Brady off with Miranda, and he brings up the park. He's like, yeah, that was pretty funny. And she's like, yeah, it was fun. Wait, did you say funny or fun? And he's like, well, and then Miranda's like, Debbie seems really nice. He's all so passive aggressive.
But it's so weird that they're both playing this like jealousy game, and it's like, like especially for Miranda, like no offense, but it's like you see what you got right, like you see what you like. Literally, this is the man that you probably should be with.
Like, do you not remember Steve like being, I know he's not dirt broke now, but like you saw how he started and like and you know what he's like,
right?
But in all fairness to Steve, he is like a business owner now. It's not like he's still only bartending with no like ambition, but still
he's a part owner and shit like that. But it's like, again, they just a person. It seems like a person like Robert is just more. It's Robert, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
you could just call him Blair Underwood.
No, we can't refer to him as his character today. He's just Blair Underwood. That's just
yeah, that's just who he is.
Well, just his personality seems to match more with it's not Samantha. Excuse me, Miranda's like just
and also like he's in like a high pressure, like high powered job, so like he seems like he'd be more understanding if she was like, I can't go out tonight, or I gotta do this, or I gotta work and stuff like that. Like obviously he's busy all basketball season. That's a lot of months like to be busy, and you'd have to be comfortable with that to know like without fail he's going to be not just busy during the week, but like out late for games and all that kind of
out late, out of town, weeks on end because they got away games and shit like that. So
and I think like like compatibility wise that's a better fit.
Yeah, because she don't seem like, because like judging from her relationship with Steve, she don't want some dude that's like always up under her a little bit. Like, because Steve, when they dated, he had a job and everything. It's not like he was a bum, but he also was like just always around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's sometimes where she would want to come home and still like, even though you want to be with somebody, there's still some times where you want to come home and be alone for a little bit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, and she would get that with Robert.
Yeah,
Sorry,
but
Blair Underwood. Sorry,
but whatever. Yeah, you can call him Robert. It's fine. But they're talking about it, and she's like, Debbie seems nice. He's like, Robert seems nice. And then they pause and they kind of share this look. And Steve starts to say something. He just says Miranda,
yeah.
and his big old pause. But then Blair Underwood walks in, and Steve was like, "Oh hey," and they joke about the nose. He's like, "Oh, I tell people Debbie punched me. She loves that." Haha. He's like, "Anyway, here's the baby. Bye."
Yeah, I mean, I wonder what he was gonna say, but like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of glad he didn't get to say it because, like, look, I know that obviously Robert and Miranda don't work out, but it's like, let me have one more episode. Let me just get one more episode, and then after that, we're cool because of all the guys that Miranda has dated so far, this is definitely top notch. Sorry,
Yeah, he's the best one.
top notch. Sorry,
Yeah.
top notch.
I feel like when I've talked about boyfriend rankings, I don't think people rank him that highly, but I don't know why they wouldn't. Racists.
Did you just take a cue from Miranda's car to get him in the building? And
I did. No regrets. I think we all know what's not being said here.
That's true because Steve probably definitely has a higher ranking over him.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
I'm like, everybody really conveniently forgets with Steve at the end of the day, the whole thing where he was like super annoying now when he was all underfoot and like watching cartoons, and he's like, well, you'll have to get used to this when we have a baby. Fuck you.
Right. Yeah, he
Fuck
was
you
super
in the
annoying, super manipulative.
Yeah.
Kind of throwing fits like a little kid. You know, yeah,
Yeah.
he's grown up, but people forgot about those episodes real quick
Yeah.
because I probably only remembering, these episodes where he's like all mature and
Yeah.
being a good dad and all that shit.
We only want to
Give credit where credit's due. Like he did grow up, but there was
Yeah.
a time.
We only remember the good times, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I think that's what everybody's like. Anybody who watched the show back in the day, I think like when you think, because I'm not saying it's a bad show, but if you think like super positively on it, you're forgetting all the fucked up shit that happens.
Yeah.
Especially if you're like, oh, Carrie's my favorite. Oh, you need to watch the show again.
Pay attention.
You need to watch the show one more time because here's the thing. I haven't enjoyed her character until this season. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. And we got problems this time, but we'll do Charlotte real quick and get to her. So, while they're at the brunch, what's her face? Bitsy Von Muffling. I just love that name so much. It's such a great New York, like old money weird name. It's so
what's her name? Yeah, it's like was
Bitsy Von Muffling.
Yeah, that is a definitely like our family's been in New York for like 16 generations name, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we definitely have a castle somewhere in another country, you know. Oh man.
So you'll recall, she married Nathan Lane's character at the end of season 5, and there was the whole to do with like he's very, to everybody's opinion, he's very clearly gay.
Yeah.
But she drops by the table and she is quite pregnant. She's like pretty far into the pregnancy.
Yeah, at least 6 months.
And they're to remind you of quote unquote how gay their husband is. She's like, we've already got names picked out, Judy and Barbara. We're gonna see how she looks for.
I say this with all due respect, but I hate it when people give new generation babies old names. Like, don't name no baby Barbara. Nobody growing up in their 20s wants to be named Barbara. Okay, like that. It just don't work anymore past 2005. Okay, we don't do that.
Oh no. I didisagree. I love old names. No, I'm first of all, my niece is Judy, so I'm pro Judy. No, I'm pro old timey names. But she's not named after Judy Garland.
No, but your name, okay, yes, it can be considered like I guess like an older name, but it's also a timeless name. A
Yeah,
Barbara's not a timeless
but
name.
that's true. Barbara,
You know what I
not
mean?
as Judy is pretty timeless.
It's timeless,
You
yeah.
know, she
Yeah,
could
it's
go by
timeless.
Jude if she wanted to when
Yeah.
she's older. J
Spell it with
Dog.
IE instead of a Y.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Barbara, yeah,
You know what I'm
Babs.
saying?
I
Yeah,
want a
Bruno.
baby named Babs. Are you kidding me? That's the cutest thing I've ever heard in my
No,
life.
call her that for short, but don't call her, don't name her actual Barbara. Just call her Babs.
You've heard all the jokes about like there's no actual baby Lindas, they just like appear like as middle-aged women.
That's an old ass name. That's Linda. Shit. Yeah. That's
Linda.
what I'm saying. Don't name like even now when I talk to people that I was like I met this girl at the gym the other day. Her name was like she's like definitely 21, barely.
Mhm.
I was like, oh, what's your name? She goes, Annabeth. I was like, ugh. Good.
Don't ick her name. Come
Ugh.
on.
That is not a name I want to call in the bedroom. I mean, I'm not saying that's all I was trying to do with it. I'm just saying that's like in my head, I'm picturing that's like, oh, that's not definitely not a name I
A
want to
lot of
say.
syllables. Well,
Yeah.
that's why I mean Elizabeth is a long name and I refuse to shorten it.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
I
Yeah, it's
hate
fine.
almost every nickname for Elizabeth.
I get it.
I've said this joke and I stand by it. The only person who's allowed to like really call me like Lizzie in any real capacity is my imaginary Scottish husband, who will tell
Okay.
me, "I love you."
It'll
Lizzie.
sound different coming out of with a Scottish accent.
Yeah, sounds
It'll sound a
great
little
coming out of a
different.
Scottish
Yeah.
accent.
It'll sound a lot more pleasant. Yeah,
We're
for sure.
standing on the moors, and he's like, "I love you, Lizzie," and I'm like, "I fucking love you too." It's my dream. I love you too, Hamish. Fergus, I love you.
Oh no. Oh my god, that's hilarious. Oh man, that's really funny. I enjoyed that. Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's my reality though.
I appreciate it so much.
But anywho,
Oh,
so Bitsy is going on and on about going to this Dr. Mao who does acupuncture, and Charlotte's super intrigued because
baby.
she wants that baby. So she's at the office. She overhears all these like women talking on and on about the success stories. It's all about these teas and the acupuncture and this and that, the other thing. And then when she's with the doctor, she's like rattling off her history because she's like, well, I tried, the different fertility treatments when I was with my first husband. And I want to have a baby with my second husband, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, I know all that.
Yeah, he's like that's why everybody's here.
He's like, yeah, everybody's.
Like,
I've heard that story like
specialize in. Yeah, so I get why you're here. I
heard that story 800 times a day.
Right.
I got it. So
Let me
he's
ask
like,
you this: do you have any experience with acupuncture, like on a personal?
no, a lot of people have recommended it to me. As a cancer survivor, a friend of mine has done it and liked it. She's having not anything drastic, but she's had more like sort of joint pain and things like that, or just sort of, and I've heard it's good like as an anxiety thing,
Okay.
like just sort of, it's like there's no harm to it if you kind of like buy into the process and thought behind it. I've thought about it too because I get tense and like it's supposed to be a good tension reliever and stuff like that. So it's something I always like say I'm gonna like look into and never like consciously do, but I've kind of wanted to try. Like I had never had a massage till this last year.
Wow. What?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Man.
Some of it's financial, some of it's not like really knowing like what to do or like how to find like one. But then like everybody I knew was like, what do you mean you've never had a massage? So like I have people who have like membership at places, and so I've had 2 this year. The first one, I think I let the guy go too hard and like should have stopped him a little sooner. I know, haha.
You're not choosing the words after that.
I know.
Shows it better either. By the way.
I know what I said. I know what I said.
As long as you heard it out loud, then we're good.
I heard it when I said it. And I just was like, no, keep on trucking. No one will know. But then I did another one where I think I like specified like lighter pressure. And then I also, it was like one of those Burke Williams spas. So not only do you get the massage, like you have like a day pass basically, and they have like a hot tub. And I don't love saunas, but there was like a steam room that I thought might be nice, but then it said you weren't supposed to go into it if you were contacts. And I was wearing contacts. So I could, not have my glasses fog up all day. And I was sort of like, why can't you go into it with contact? And so that just weirded me out. But my actual favorite thing was the quiet room, where it was just like there are multiple people in there, everybody's fucking quiet. And I say that as someone who fucking loves talking. And I actually really enjoyed it. Yeah, because I was like, I like that because sometimes I don't want to be talked to, and I'm not like a conversation like initiator, annoying person in public. But like when people start with me, I'm like, you unleash your own personal hell. Let's chit chat forever.
You brought this on yourself.
You brought this on yourself. You opened up the gift of gab, baby. It's over. So I was surprised that some people were in there with phones, like and AirPods or whatever. Which to me, I thought you weren't supposed to be in there with like sort of anything. I thought it was. And I guess it's to each their own, truly, because I'm like, to me, like the quiet room should be like, in my mind, you're like, you just kind of sit there, and you are sort of meditating in a way, but you're in like a really comfy chair.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I always wanted to try it too, because like I'm the same way with about the tension stuff. Is like I always wonder like to help me release some of it, because I know I have a lot of it, especially like I like to hold it in my jaws.
Yeah. So I was let's look up acupuncture. Let's actually do it.
I'm down. Let's do it. I'm ready.
So he's having her, he's like, all right, he has all the needles in her, and he's like, okay, relax here for like 20 minutes. With your own thoughts, I'll be back. And except all her thoughts are like everything she just heard in the waiting room of everybody saying like, this is, and I have that problem too when I've done like, I've done the massage thing where you are supposed to like sort of like let your mind go. My brain is all over the place. Fire and I honestly don't get relaxed till literally like the last 5 minutes of the massage, where I'm like, oh, this is blissful, and they're like, okay, you're done. I'm like, god damn it, me.
Yeah, I used to be that way too, but I tell you what, the last time I got a massage, it was from an old Asian lady. It was the best massage I ever had in my entire life. The strongest hands I've ever felt in my entire life. The first like grind, I was like, Jesus. Because she was like this like 5 foot barely, Asian lady that was like just crushing my muscle. But the great thing about it was because she was so strong, like my mind was able to like concentrate on that for a little bit. And then once I got used to the pressure, my mind drifted off. And that was probably the first time. I had at least 2 or 3 massages before that. And I was like you, like the end of the massage, I'm like, oh yeah, here to relax. And then I was like, hey, time to get out.
Yeah, they're like, beat it. I'm like, damn
it. Right when I got relaxed. How dare you?
Yeah.
I also want to try those chambers, what they call them, the
sensory deprivation chamber.
That shit, yeah. I always want to try that too.
I'm never sure if I want to. I'm like, will I overthink it and like flip out, like, or will I like it? Yeah, the same reason. Like, I'm not sure about like mushrooms, where they're like, no, it's like the microdosing is like supposed to be good for like anxiety and kind of like make you feel better, like and depression-y stuff and stuff like that. But I'm like, doesn't it make you like freak the fuck out though? So I'm like,
am I like too many, right? Or you take too much that you're not used to, maybe. But
I'm like, am I too paranoid for drugs?
Well, it's also too. It's like I'm not gonna start microdosing without getting a prescription, because like I'm not just gonna take somebody's word and be like, oh yeah, 5 milligrams, because 5 milligrams might be good for you, but maybe I need like 1 milligram. If I take 5, it like sends me in the fucking orbit.
Yeah, well, I was talking to somebody about doing it, and I was like, well, I'd be willing to try. I was like, and you're like a trusted person, I feel like okay, like doing. They're like, why are you talking about it like you're dropping acid? I'm like, because I don't do drugs very often, if ever. Right. And I would like to be with somebody where I like they've done it before and like could be like, no, don't freak out, everything's okay. Like
right.
I want a guide. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think I should be popping my first mushroom at home by myself. I think that's a bad idea.
100%. 100%. Yeah. Also, don't be cavalier when you're talking about drugs, okay? Like, I need you to match my like understand my panic and like calm me down, but don't make it seem like I'm just being ridiculous. Okay.
Exactly. Some of us just aren't that experimental,
Right.
and I'm not looking down on you. If anything, I'm trusting you
Yeah.
as someone who has routinely done this.
Right. Yeah. Like some of us aren't just so uh, uh um I don't know, arrogant with life that we can just let our brain be,
Yeah.
vulnerable and just let go. Okay. Some of us need to be
Some of
ready.
us have the wheels
Um,
turning
yeah. Some of us need to
constantly.
have our feet planted, ready to go. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Is that sad? Probably, but
Really.
that's why we're in this.
Bible, goddammit, I'm living. It's helped me
I've
this
made it
far.
this far,
Yeah, it's helped me this far. So fuck
and
off.
that's why I'm in therapy. Okay. And even the therapist said microdosing sounded like an okay idea if it was with somebody I trusted.
Whew.
So Charlotte goes back for round 2 of acupuncture. She's trying to relax, and there's also it's like the Cuban Liberation Front is outside, like marching and chanting and stuff,
Yeah.
and it's so distracting. She like gets up, with the needles in her and everything, and like toddles out of the room, and is like, I can't get centered. And the doctor takes her back. She's like, I'm trying to focus, but there's all the noise. Is there a quieter room? And he's like, the city is always going to be noisy.
Right. Yeah.
You have to try to like block this out on your
Yeah. I
own.
mean, especially because, like, if you're like in New York, you know what I'm saying? And like if you're in the outer boroughs, like a Brooklyn or something like that, it's a little bit more quieter because those are like more neighborhoods. But like in the center of Manhattan, it's always noise. Like
Yeah.
it's never stopping. Like it don't matter what time of it, it's just there's always noise. So you
Yeah.
got to even be able to sleep in New York, you got to have like a like a noise machine or like
Yeah, or just tune it out, be used to it. Yeah.
earmuffs or something. And, it's that's just the sound of New York.
Yeah. And then so I don't know if she goes back after this, but Charlotte bumps into Bitsy again, and they're talking about the acupuncture, and Bitsy is like, did you try this? It's all about the teeth. Blah, blah, blah. And she's going on and on and on. And Charlotte like totally tunes her out. And they're like, oh, the doctor really helped her because she's tuning out, Bitsy. She looks downright like blissful in that moment. She's like, I did
Yeah.
it.
Well, that's kind of is what it is because she's not gonna. I think if she's putting too much, like I don't know, like too much pressure on those treatments, like and if it doesn't work out, then she's gonna really be,
Yeah.
more sad because she's like, well, I literally tried everything and nothing's working. So like, and also too that kind of stress, especially when it comes to like trying to conceive a child, it don't help the process at all.
Yeah, they say like when you're doing that kind of stuff, like yeah, try the acupuncture, try teas, try all that stuff, but like almost sort of don't listen to anybody, like
Right.
in terms of whether or not it worked for them, because everybody's body is so different too, that like it's one thing to be like, hey, I recommend this, I don't know if it'll work for you, but like the way some people talk about that stuff, they're like, no, you have to do this, you have to try
Right.
that, you have, because
Yeah.
it worked for me, it worked for my friend, it worked for this. But it's just like bodies are weird and different, and there's like almost no blanket cure or remedy for anything. Like
Yeah.
what I like for, I don't know, like a cold home remedy, like someone else might be like, oh my god, I can't do that, I hate it, or it doesn't work, or vice versa, all sorts of things.
It's true.
We are
Very-
weird machines.
Yeah. To say the least.
Speaking of medical stuff, though, we're on to Carrie, who's having a
Yeah.
New York night out with our favorite character, Chris. It's the return of Big, just who you love seeing.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, honestly, at this point, I've accepted the reality
Mm-hmm.
that the writers of the show, creators of the show, have made it destiny that these two characters are going to be together, no matter who she runs into. So like, I rolled my eyes when they showed up, but I also just like that was my last eye roll. It's like, all right, we're here. It's the last season. I can't do anything about it.
That's sort of fitting with the arc of this
Mhm.
episode and her relationship with him in this episode. That's
I
sort
think
of
so.
fitting. because
I think it's all fans of the show that's just been like that. We're just like, you know what? At this point,
it's
just let them get together. Just let them have it. Clearly, he's never going away, so fuck it.
Yeah. So they're having like a steak dinner and doing their usual shtick and everything. And she's like, "So what are you doing in town?" And he's having a quote unquote heart thing, and it's an angioplasty. And he's like, "It's no big deal. It's so routine." And she bursts into like these like streaky little tears. It's so over the top.
Yeah, it was like literally. He's like, "Hey," it's like the way she was crying was like he said, "Hey, I'm dying tomorrow." That's
yeah, like a waiter comes by, she's flipping out so hard, and he's like, "She's fine."
That'd be me. I'd be like, "Can you please stop? Because
you
they're gonna think that I'm fucking like breaking up with you or like hurting you under the table. Like, I need you to fucking chill."
Yeah. It doesn't help that he's like clearly older and she's younger, so like it probably looks really bad.
Right. Yeah.
So they're at the brunch and she's talking about people getting under your skin, and she's like, kind of like Big, he's in town for a heart thing, and Miranda's like, "Oh, is he on the waiting list to get one?" Sick burn.
It was a good one. I like
But Carrie's like, "You're gonna feel bad after I tell you what it is. He's here for heart surgery." And Miranda's like, "Oh, I do feel bad." I don't think Miranda should feel bad. That guy stomped all over her friend's heart like multiple
not only
times.
that, it's that you realize Carrie kind of left out the detail of it being a minor surgery. She just said that he's having heart surgery. She left out the detail that it's like a minor thing, like because he was literally in and out in one day.
Yeah.
That's not a major surgery. Sorry.
No, but she's telling them about it, and she like bursts into tears again, and she's like, "I'm not sure why." So she ends up visiting him at the hospital, and she walks in, and he's all like, kind of pretends to be like slow and weak, and then she's like, "Are you okay?" And he goes, "Yeah, I gotta have a life." It's like one of the only times I've liked him. I thought that was pretty funny, to be honest.
I mean, I don't know. It's something wrong with men because
You guys are so.
We love fucking with y'all this way. I don't know why.
I know.
We just love putting like that kind of look on your face, like that horror of like,
are you gonna die?
Like your worst nightmare coming in life, and they were like, just kidding.
So mean.
Something wrong with this. It really is. I would do this all day, all day. All day.
Oh my god, I would never.
You know what I'm saying? Like, especially because she's like being so over dramatic about it. Like, I'd be walking around the apartment every now and then, just like grab my chest, being like,
"Oh, you monster! No, you can't do that. That's so mean."
Dude, she'd be crying so much she'd be dehydrated by the time I was done. So much.
Or yeah, I feel like I got pranked by a guy where there's like a gross photo or something like that, and I was like, I don't want to see that. And then like any chance they had to pull it up on a computer or phone, anything, they were like, "Yeah, what about this?" And I'm like, "God, stop doing that." I can't remember what the photo was.
Yeah, you say that on your phone, and then every now and then, like especially while she's driving, be like, "Hey, baby, what is this?" And bam, just hit her with it.
Text it to you out of the blue.
Oh yeah, it's like, "Oh, you got a meeting today? Check this out." Right in the middle of your meeting,
guys.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I don't know why. I couldn't explain it to you. I don't know. Maybe it's like one of our tests to see if you really care or something.
Probably. It's probably like a weird like survival. Like, will the female care for me? And
yeah, that's true. That's true. Maybe it is. It must be.
Yeah.
But it's a very sick way of showing.
It's really messed up. It's really bad. Don't do that. If you can avoid the urge, if you can resist the urge, do.
We can't.
You can't though.
We can't, because here's the thing: the face that y'all make, it fuels the energy to do it again.
Oh my god, no! I just remember.
Y'all were just like, if we did like some shit like that, and y'all just stone face, neutral face, and we're just like, all right, cool. We would never do it again. But the fact that y'all be like, "Oh my god," and freak out, it's like, oh man, now I got.
No, at work, the one guy on our team, there was some dirty joke from like the day before that was gross, that had something to do with salmon, and then he kept bringing it up the next day and making like salmon jokes, and everyone was like, salmon. It was all girls, all women on the team with him, and he was just full on guy mode with that shit. Where everyone was like, knock it off.
got a problem. We got a problem, and I don't know what it is, but it's there.
But she's visiting him. The nurse comes in, and the nurse is like just fluffing his pillows a little, and Carrie like bursts into tears again.
Yeah, because he was like in a little bit of like
Yeah, he's
discomfort.
kind of like groans a little. He's like,
Yeah.
ugh. And he looks pretty weak. He looks pretty rough in the bed, you know.
Yeah.
And the nurse is like, "Don't cry, your husband's gonna be just fine." And Carrie's like, "He's not my husband."
Right, she snapped right out of that fucking crying fit to be like,
Right
"I'm sorry,
out of it.
excuse me, before you get it twisted, we are just friends."
Yeah. Except,
Right, exactly.
really?
Right, yeah, it's like, but
Yeah, just friends.
yeah.
So when Samantha and Carrie are talking about their relationship stuff, Carrie tells her that she keeps crying, like she just cried when she visited him. She's like, I thought the only way to have him in my life was to block out certain feelings, but like the health scare has them all coming back up. And she says, she's like, I've accepted he's limited, and like that's where he's at. And I wrote, okay, so why are you still in contact with him? Like,
I mean, that's the question for the ages right there.
you know you're not getting what you want from him, but you keep him around.
Because here's the thing is, because every time they see each other, he kind of gives her a glimpse of what she could have with between them. And I think that's what's like kind of kept her going,
because it's the breadcrumbing thing.
Yeah,
they call it breadcrumbing, where you get just enough.
And I don't think he's doing it on purpose. Like, he's just being him. But in her mind, she's like, he's still the unattainable guy. She's still in that mode where she wants to like fix him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can change him. That's still her mindset. Is like, of all the women in the world, I am the greatest. That's gonna like turn him from being the Grinch into having a heart.
Yeah. Well, it's hard. Shouldn't grow 3 sizes that day because he'll die.
Right. For sure, 100%.
He's gonna die.
Yeah, 100%.
So Carrie like ponders injuries and like, how dangerous is it to have an open heart? Well, dangerous, but you gotta do it, otherwise you'll never find a partner ever. Like, that's
I mean,
sad.
that's kind of how it works. Yeah, like like it's not like we're getting government issue fucking spouses.
Yeah. Not yet, anyway.
I mean, it might.
I don't want that though.
Listen, we probably won't see it in our lifetime, but I listen. If America is around, like 100 years from now, I would not be surprised if like they just find some kind of like program algorithm, be like, all right, you two together, marry, like, what I mean?
There was actually a great kind of like sci-fi future-y book about it called The One, and they had developed a DNA test that you put into like, the system, and it would find your perfect like soul match, basically based on the other person's DNA. But there were all sorts of crazy complications with it because and there were multiple different storylines in it. So there was one where there was kind of like a lonelier woman, and she shows up and finds out the guy she is matched with he's like in a coma. He got in like a car accident sometime after submitting his DNA to the thing. He's in a coma. There was a whole one where like a policewoman was matched with like a serial killer guy.
Oh, wow.
And like, so all sorts of like funky, or there was one where the guy was matched with another guy and he was married to a woman, and they both submitted it just to like as a joke to see if they matched with each other, and then they didn't, and his was matched with a guy, and so then he had all sorts of new feelings he didn't fully understand with it's a great book. It's so interesting. I highly recommend it. It's called The One.
All right, I'm gonna check that out. That sounds amazing.
And then I think at some point, this is not like a huge spoiler, but they find out, or someone finds out, that somehow results have been tampered with. So it calls into question all the matches, but like it's sort of, toothpaste is out of the tube on all these different things. So
that's what I would worry about too. Like, if that happened here, like in real life, because there'll be somebody tampering with it. There'll be some kind of money in it and stuff like that. So it wouldn't be a true system. Like, maybe the first few years would start out, but give or take about 10 years, somebody's going to find some way to hack into it, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, it's a great book. I'll put the author put in the notes, because it's like a really fast read. So if you're not if you think you don't like reading, you do. It's a great, or I'm sure there's an audiobook of it too, which is, to be clear, that counts. However you intake new information is how you do it. No worries. I just say that as there's a weird anti-intellectual, anti-reading like thing bubbling through the world right now, which is bad. It's a bummer. But anyway, she visits Big at the hotel, or she calls to see if Big is still at the hospital, and he's already checked out. And so Carrie visits him at the hotel room, dressed like a candy striper.
And this is where, because like let me ask you this, and I feel like I already know the answer.
Sure.
Have you ever shown up in like a nurse's outfit to like nurse your friend back to health? Like, have you ever done that for a friend?
No.
Right. So like the fact that she's gone through so many like years and seasons of this being like, oh, he's just a friend. It's like no one does that for a friend. Like no girl has ever even done that for like a girlfriend. Like showing up in a nurse's outfit and being like, ooh, you know what I mean? Like that's some shit you do for a romantic partner. Like why are we pretending that y'all are fucking friends? It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, why exactly? But this is a, pun intended, sort of the nail in the coffin, I think, on some of this business with her. Although I do like when he's like, "Are you trying to kill me?" Like he's not supposed to smoke or drink or get excited because of those are 3 things you're not supposed to do after heart surgery, big or small. I wrote that it's insane she'd show up basically like a stripper, especially to a man who just had like, well, I guess he didn't have open heart surgery, but he still had heart surgery.
But still, yes, he had a heart surgery.
So, but she's got games and stuff to keep them entertained, like dominoes.
Right.
So they're like setting up the dominoes and playing around and whatnot, and he's like, is this what we'd be like in our old age, playing board games? And she's kind of laughs it off. He's like, no, seriously, like you and me, early bird special. And they kind of get quiet, but then he legit is like, oh no, I don't feel good. And he's got like a fever.
Yeah.
So she gets him into bed, checks in with the doctor. He's gonna be fine and everything like that. And he's like, you're an angel, you know that. And he's like, I'm serious earlier, talking about us. What are we doing? And Carrie says, I don't know. And then just curls up in bed beside him. And her narration says his heart was finally unblocked and wide open.
Yeah.
But then the next morning, they wake up and he's like feeling better and he's feeling like himself again. Yeah. And she like goes to check him again. He like gets right out of bed, walks right through the dominoes that they like had set up on the floor, just makes a mess.
Yeah.
And goes to the bathroom without any care, and Carrie realizes he's like back to his old self, and she kind of accepts like his old ways aren't enough and life's too short to kind of put up with all that. Because I think, and I do in some ways think he kind of only really thought about her as like a real option because he was like, I had a big health scare and I don't feel great.
He was like in a vulnerable state, and I mean, times like that, it kind of humbles us as human beings, because when everything's going great, we kind of feel invincible, and then when something like that happens, it's like, oh shit, we forget that like our time here on this planet is very limited. Yeah.
So, but it's pretty shitty to know that you felt that way, but then as soon as you're feeling good again, you just drop them like hot garbage and move on.
100%. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. But I think this moment's like the nail in the coffin for her, as far as like, maybe he's not even really that good a friend. I mean, he's definitely not that good a friend, but like,
they're not friends. He's never been a good friend.
They've never been friends.
Yeah. It's like he's never been a good friend because you guys aren't friends. That's why you go months and months without talking to each other, because you know that like the only thing between y'all is like romantic feelings. Yeah. I mean, you can be, there's friendship within that, of course, right? Because anybody that you're with, you kind of want to be friends with them as well. But like, that it's just always a level higher than just friendship. Yeah. Like if he called and was like saying, I'm going to get married, that would devastate you. Yeah.
She'd go try to stop that wedding.
Oh, bro. She'd be in Northern California in a heartbeat.
She'd be like, she's not right for him. She doesn't know him the way I do. Mind your business. What the fuck? Right. I'm saying. Well, she did that. She didn't stop the wedding, but we saw that with Big's wife, Natasha. I mean, that was she was swore up and down Natasha was bad for Big, and she couldn't like Big, and she didn't know him, and on and on and on and on.
Right.
And it's like, what?
No, precisely. Yeah. So that's why I was like, this whole friend thing is just absurd.
Yeah. And that's the end of this episode and that episode.
Yeah, I mean, okay, let me ask you this, because we know what happens in the future. Do you think this was like a little seed, or like a little bit of a what do you call it? A little foreshadowing, or do you think that they just used this little thing and like kind of made a story out of it for the series?
I think they just used this to make a story out of it for the series, because
Okay.
there was no way they knew they would either do a movie necessarily. I think they maybe knew they would do a movie or thought about doing a movie after the series ended, because I think the series ended in like 2006 and they did a movie. The movie came out in 2008.
Yeah.
So they might have what do you call it, had it as an idea long term, like if they kept the show going or the movies going or something like that. Because I think even so, the first movie is one thing, and there's a happily ever after, and then the second movie, not a lot. I mean, stuff happens with them, and the second movie is so colossally bad. I can't even explain it to you right now. Yeah. But then, because then after the second movie came out and everybody hated it, I think there had been ideas for a third movie, and I think at that point the idea of him dying of like a heart attack had been bandied about for like, because everyone's like, well, part of the problem was in the second movie, spoiler, they're married and they had to like invent problems for them, because it's how do you keep this couple, how do you keep it interesting, you got to keep them apart as long as possible, because it's hard to write conflict within married couples without just endless either cheating, fake outs, or misunderstandings, or things like that, which are I think get too real. Like misunderstandings or disagreements can get too real, and so people want like bigger dramatic, like things to tear them apart. And so because that's the second movie is just sort of about their marital like discomfort, it's not that thrilling, and it was poorly done. So the thought, though, I think for quite some time after that was like, well, if we do a third movie, Big gets killed off for sure. Like either she starts off already widowed, or he dies, or whatever. So
okay.
Yeah.
Just wondering, because like there's like just consider. I mean, I guess because like this was, I mean, years before the new show came out, so it makes sense that wouldn't be like there's no way they were foreshadowing that 10 years.
No, they weren't like, we're gonna reboot it and we're gonna put and when we do reboot it, we're gonna put in the world's most annoying character that everyone, man, woman, non-binary, LGBTQ plus allies, everyone to a man, woman, and beyond dislikes that character.
Right.
Sorry, no one likes that JD's character, so it's just they're just such an irritating character. They're the worst. I'm sorry. They're not there's no like, and I'm a straight cis person, but no, I've seen LGBTQ people be like, they're the worst. Non-binary folks have been like, they're so irritating. Like if the people you were in theory trying to represent have been like, they're terrible.
Right.
Do better.
Yeah. It's probably a good rule of thumb right there.
Yeah, because it's I think people would want to be like, oh, you're just saying that because they're a non-binary queer character, and everyone's like, no, that is not the issue with the character.
Right.
The character's just fucking irritating.
Right.
Unrelated to those things.
Yeah.
They'd be irritating if they were a straight cis man, a straight cis woman, gay woman, gay man. They're annoying no matter what they are.
Just not a good character. Stop trying to like blame everybody. Yeah. Not a good character. Just take the lick.
Just admit they're an awful character.
Right. You respect you more.
But we still got a ways to go before we even really truly touch on that.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, you can find us, the show, on Instagram at Show Me What Podcast, and that'll take you to Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, where you can like, subscribe, and comment.
From the wine, and no one speaks that way.
I know.
The H only goes in front of W's. How dare
YouTube.
you?
It's British sounding.
No. No. You're Irish, so you can't even.
Yeah, right. I know. I was just laughing to myself because I'm planning my like Ireland Scotland trip. I'm waiting for people to be like, no, England. I'm be like, fuck no. Fucking colonizers. No, just kidding. England's fine. England's lovely. I have no true beef.
I got if you do go to England, I got some pence for you if you want to take some pence over there. I got about like I think like $8 in like British currency still left in coinage.
Oh yeah.
A lot of coinage, yeah. Because I went over there a long time ago, but I just I was like, what am I gonna do with this money? I'm not gonna just like throw it away or something like that. Yeah. It's still money, you know what I'm saying? I may take it somewhere with me to exchange it for something,
Yeah, you never know.
I don't know how much it's worth though, because I have euros because that's like the currency pretty much everywhere over there. But it's like, I was like, do I want to take this pence with me and see if I can get like how many euros I can get out of it? Probably gonna be shit. Probably get like $2.
Yeah. And you can find me at Elizabeth Movies on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Where can they find you, Chris?
You can find me on everything at Christopher T. Mack on all social media. And
as always, check out Arlo Australia candles. Speaking vaguely of the UK.
Yeah, UK-ish.
Ish.
Adjacent.
Commonwealth under there.
Yes, there we go. Yes, that's it. Commonwealth for sure.
Mm-hmm. And use promo code Show Me Miss to save 10% on candles. It's my birthday this week when we air this. Buy me a candle.
Yay.
And by me a candle, I mean buy yourself a candle.
Right.
Or someone you enjoy.
Buy one and then mention in the comments like you bought
a candle
because one of us you saw the show. Okay. Like,
yeah.
Do that.
Tell them who sent you.
There you go. Boom.
Like and subscribe, and we'll see you again next week.